Hi, everyone. Welcome to Flourish by Design TV. I'm so excited to have you here again this week for our weekly chat. Yeah, it's just amazing. I always look forward to it, to have a little online class with my my girls and my guys who like to listen in to me on a weekly basis all around the world. So you're very, very welcome. And yeah, just the beautiful weather here in Ireland. It's just getting better all the time, even nicer than last week when I talked about everything budding and blossoming and yeah, starting to flourish. And I can feel that within ourselves. I can feel like the energy and wanting to do more and wanting to, yeah, just to bud into something bigger. So I this week had an amazing interactions in Maynooth Open Day, which I was guided to mentor to go to see around my PhD yesterday, and met some amazing inspirational professors who were so helpful in helping me think about what I'm going to do in my next step, and actually put me into mind of today's talk about clarity and how can we see with clarity. So that was really the interaction that sparked this idea for the conversation this week. So many times in our life, we can feel like we're in a fog or uh, we can't see our way through. And I wanted to share with you 5 steps to help you find that clarity. If you're going through a period in your life where you feel, that fogginess, that mind fog, your mind is really noisy and you just can't see a way through wanting to make a change, but you just don't know how to make that right decision. I'd love to share with you the tips that I've used throughout my life to find that clarity and to keep walking my path that's true to me. So I have them written out here and a little guide so that I won't get get lost and I'll keep on my track. And yeah, so the first one, when I was sitting and pondering about this and writing it, I was saying to myself, what was the most powerful thing that I've ever done that changed me into knowing exactly where I'm going and what I want to do? Now, I would say that's probably one of my greatest strengths. We all have strengths and weaknesses, but my direction and my clarity of where I'm going in my life has been something that has really made all the difference. From when I was 18 years of age, and I decided, my dad said we were going to Australia and we were moving, and I was really excited about that. And then he decided we weren't going. And actually, it was 18. I was about 14, I would say 14, 15. And then when he decided we weren't going, I had been so excited about it, absolutely over the moon, because I thought this would be a great new beginning for me. And I could imagine myself in art college and I could imagine my life around that. And I started to kind of plan this for myself. And then he decided we weren't going. And that's when I took agency of my life. And I started to really listen to myself to go forward. And I would say the first step I did on that process at that time was to call my energy back to myself. So when I was sitting thinking about this during the week, I was thinking, what did I actually do in that moment? And I remember I was very cross. I was really annoyed with my dad because I love my dad so much. And he has such a great relationship. And what made that great relationship so great was that, I could always challenge him. We were very honest with each other in our feelings. And he always created a safe space for me to be able to say and speak my truth to him. And and in that moment, when he made that decision, I thought to myself, it was a coming of age, really. What happened was that I said, no, I'm going to take my power back and I take my energy back to myself. So agency was born in my life, this agency, calling my energy back and I stopped outsourcing my clarity and what I was to do and what I was being told to do and being guided to do by other people. And I started to draw my energy back into myself. So it's actually amazing to think about this. So if you were to think about yourself, and if you imagine yourself like a sun nearly, and you've got these streams of energy flowing out of yourself like rays of sunshine that go out from yourself. You're just all this energy that goes outside of yourself. The more you put your energy outside of yourself and your decision making outside of yourself, the less energy, core energy that you have in yourself. And sometimes you can get very confused by that. So if you're looking outside of yourself to all of these different influences around you, you can become very foggy in your mind when you're trying to decide on a direction that you want to take for your life. So it makes sense that you might spend time comparing yourself to others, or you might, start to doubt yourself because you're not used to taking those action steps and having that confidence to make decisions for yourself to move forward. The first thing to do is to take stock of yourself and to practice bringing your energy back into yourself. So I was teaching the students this actually during the week, and I actually taught them a process called box breathing. I thought it was really good for designers because it's like the shape of a box, like a square. And I taught them how to breathe. So it's bringing their energy back into yourself. So instead of having it outside and giving your energy away to all these different people and all these different influences and social media and all the noise in life that your energy is being drawn to bringing it back into yourself, into the core of yourself. Your breath is a great one. You can actually start to breathe, just to close your eyes and to start to box breathe. So the box breathing is when you breathe in for 5, count to 5, breathing in, and then exhale for 5, then hold for 5, and then inhale for 5, hold for 5, exhale for 5. And you keep repeating that about 7 times and it calms you down, brings you back to yourself, and it starts to create a sense of clarity within yourself. You can start to hear your own thoughts, and you can start to hear how and feel into the direction that you want to take. So the number 1 is call your energy back to yourself. Number 2 then is listening to your own inner knowing. So really that's something that comes from bringing yourself back to yourself from step 1, that inner knowing. When you start to really listen to yourself, to listen to your own truths, because you have all the answers already inside of yourself. And that's why it's so important to really quieten yourself down and to bring yourself back into that inner knowing, because you have everything that you need within yourself. It's wonderful to have friends and family and colleagues. And I'm always talking about, the quality of life is a reflection of the quality of your relationships. But the number 1 relationship is with yourself. You're the source of your own happiness. And when you can quieten yourself down and start to listen to that inner knowing, you can really tap into that clarity. And that fog starts to lift, and you can start to see your way forward. And sometimes it's just seeing the next step. You don't have to see all the steps that it's going to take to get you where you want to go, but you will see the first couple of steps. And to do that, I would say another practice would be to start journaling. Just in that quietness, you can start to just take a pen and paper and write down how you feel, and then what are your aspirations? What would you love to do in your life? And again, taking yourself away, calling your power back, that number one step, bringing it back to yourself really is quietening down everybody else's expectations of you and who you think you need to be or what society is asking you to be. But number two is that, really listening into your own knowing. Because as I always say, you came here with a mission and something that's you're here to do that's very unique to you. And you're the only one who really knows what that is. You can be guided and you can be supported and you can be cheerleaded by those around you. But you're the one who knows exactly what you're here to do because it feels right to you. You have that sense, that beautiful sense that this is the path that I should be taking. And there's a beautiful feeling that arises from our heart when we feel that, and I experienced that yesterday, and it's so profound when it happens, you know, because it's a very subtle knowing that guides you in that direction, when you start to sit in quietness and you reflect, reconnects you back to your truth. And I had been asking myself some questions lately, since January, and asking where my next steps are. And I could see that I was coming to the end of my studies in Griffith College, and then things had opened up for possibilities around studying again, but what direction? And going to Maynooth yesterday really was amazing because there was some beautiful connections that I made that really, I just felt very touched to have the have followed that knowing and to have made those connections with the next steps in my career, which is an area, it's not everything in your life, but it is a big part of your life. And especially at my stage in my life, my children are older and I have one in college and one, was studying to go to college, and they very much have their own lives and their own partners, and they have full lives. And it is beautiful to be able to blossom into, use your skills and talents in a greater way now to help society. So I was so thrilled to find out about social design and where possibilities for where I want to go in my career open up to me. And that was from that quietness, that reflection. And speaking to a friend of mine during the week as well, who's in a transition period, not really sure what way to go, and between jobs, we'll say, trying to change career at a crossroads. I would say, sometimes these stages in our life can be difficult because we have possibilities, we have education, we have things, and we have lots of experience, but sometimes it's not knowing what way to go. And traditionally speaking, just putting ourselves out there doesn't always gather the right information that we want, so it's that listening to our inner knowing is always going to guide us in a subtle way. So even yesterday, just being subtly guided and listening to that subtle guidance is always going to lead us into the right direction. It's very quiet, it's very gentle, it's very subtle, but it has a beautiful feeling. Like last week I talked about, depending what fuels you. So what is the source of your energy and what fuels you? Is it positivity or negativity? And I said that they had different flavors. And I definitely would say that, when we're listening to our knowing and it's coming from our heart, it has that beautiful sweetness. It's just a beautiful, sweet feeling, warm, sweet feeling in our heart that is guiding us in that direction. And then we can kind of know that, yeah, this feels where I'm needed. And I had that feeling yesterday where I felt, oh wow, this is where I feel I'm needed next. This is the place where my skills and talents can serve the greatest at this time. And that's a great question to ask. Where am I needed? Where can I serve best? And listening then to those answers and those things that come forward from that question. Then I would say the third point and third step, I would say, is release fear and trust your path. So again, the clarity isn't about certainty. It's not about being certain. I know this is what I'm going to do. It's actually about trust. And what is actually clouding our judgment is fear itself. So if you think about that, it's really amazing. So when we're cloudy and when we're doubting ourselves and questioning ourselves, comparing ourselves, we're actually in fear. So we're actually in a fearful state. And that is something that we just, if we quieten down and we move into trust, into a state of trust, then that's when we can receive our guidance to show us what way to go. It's it's not about knowing exactly what to do, but it is knowing that we need to let go of fear. If not, fear is going to control us. So fear can be leading the way, or trust can be leading the way. So what's leading the way for you? And it's a conscious awareness around that, because we can make decisions based on fear, or we can make decisions based on that trust and that knowing and that subtle feeling of warmth in our heart that we know that this is the direction we're meant to go in. But that takes one step at a time, and it takes courage, because often we're going into the unknown. So fear will often tell us, this is the way to go because this is a sensible thing to do. This is what will make most sense. This will make most money. This will what's going to give us the best status. This is what's going to, yeah, be a certainty. But the trusting and the clarity that we get from our sitting still is the right path for us. It's what's true to us, and it's what's being guided for us. And that takes courage to actually make those steps towards that. And the whole world can open up for you when you actually have the courage to take those steps. It is a radical way of living because you never know, what you're capable of, to be quite honest. And to see what is possible is usually something that you never would have thought that you would be able to do. And life does challenge you in ways that you would never challenge yourself. But that trusting and knowing, following that, is where you will find your true happiness. Because when you're doing what you're capable of doing and you're being challenged in the way that you can really excel and reach the excellence of your own being, then there's no better feeling, and that really makes you light up and makes you shine, and it's what inspires all of those people around you. You become that inspirational leader. So clarity is so unbelievably important, because the amount of energy that goes into thinking and overthinking and taking all the information in from lots of different sources, which is important. But when we have that inner mind that we are going to trust, that we listen to our clarity, and we move forward with that, it takes a lot less energy and it helps us decide on our direction. It gives us that amazing sense of clarity and direction forward. And often those are the decisions that the doors just open for us, you know. And I've seen with friends of mine, they're trying to make decisions and on changing careers and trying to, yeah, you know, trying knocking on doors and the doors being slammed in their face again and again and again. And that's redirecting us and saying, you know, that's not the direction, that's not the direction. And often we can do it like that, where it's trial and error. It takes longer time and it can be more frustrating. But if we spend time to listen into our knowing, and like that, number three, release the fear and trust your path, then things become clearer and they become simpler. So the next point, I would say, point four, is align with what feels right. So that leads on from the last one as well. So what feels right? Yes, you know, sometimes I find it's just a feeling that it of excitement, you know. I was thinking about this yesterday. I said, what did it feel like when I was speaking to the professors when in Maynooth, you know? And I could feel a sense of I was actually speaking to two different PhD professors, doctors, and one was guiding me, it was on education, and the other was design innovation. And I was speaking to both of them, and you know, because I have masters and a master's in education, also, and I have qualifications in design. I can go into both, either. But I was listening to my body, and I was saying to myself, "What's lighting me up? What's getting me more excited? You know, what do I feel in my system is really getting excited?" That's that eros, it's called, that vital energy that you're fizzing up. It's like a fizz. You know, it's like you feel like champagne or something. You're like, oh, I want to pop. That vital energy is coming alive in you with the idea of working in this area, you know, and talking about, yeah, you know, partnerships with different organizations for research and, you know, working on social design, big organizations, HSE, and different possibilities that are there. And I thought that got me really excited. So that was what I felt was right for me in that direction. And just right to go forward and to take the next step to explore, to see what was possible. And the opposite of that is what drains you. So, for every area of your life, whether it's your career, whether it's relationships, if somebody is draining you or if some job is draining you, that's a huge sign. That is a massive sign that it's not for you, that you're not in the right, you're not going down the right way. And sometimes when we're very foggy in our mind and we don't have that clarity, we can often be in situations, be in work situations, friendships, or romantic partners that are draining us and just draining our life force. And it's actually, it's not for you. And the clarity comes when you stop forcing what doesn't fit. You know, sometimes we feel, oh, you know, this should work out. This job, you know, on paper, it's perfect for me. It makes a lot of sense. It's it seems right, but it's draining you. Look at your energy. It's not aligned with what you should be doing, and it's not giving you the energy that you need, and it's actually making more confused. So that's a sign that maybe we should quieten down and go to step one again, come back, bring our energy back to ourselves, and step number two, listen to that inner knowing again, quieten down, and ask, what's what is it that what are the answers that I have within myself to guide me forward, and then to release and the fear, and then trust that you will be guided in the right direction, because what's aligned with you will give you energy. What's not aligned with you is always going to drain you, and it's going to drain your power, and that's your empowerment, it comes from power. So that's a sign. If you don't feel empowered in a relationship, in a job, in a friend group, or in a set of friends, if you don't feel fired up and empowered, then you're out of alignment. So make sure that you're aligned with what feels right, what feels true to you. And number 5 is own your own power and move forward with that. So that's again a step on for number 4. So once you've become aligned with that excited feeling and that feeling that you know that is right for you, then you are actually owning your power. So you've got your power within yourself. And the clarity that comes from that is so amazing, because I think actually that is, for me, the key to to your power. Your clarity is the key to your power. When you get clear, you know exactly what steps to take, and you will fulfill that destiny that you were sent here to do. So knowing your own power and then moving forward from there is the fifth step. Not looking for permission. So you don't need permission to believe in yourself. You don't need permission to believe in yourself. I have to repeat that, because self-belief is the greatest power that you have to move yourself forward. And when you can quieten yourself down to really understand the direction that you're meant to take, then you don't need anybody else's belief in you. You only need your own self belief. And that will give you the confidence to move forward in the direction of your dreams. So I would love you to sit and have a little contemplation about those 5 steps. When you really truly trust yourself, clarity follows that. So the trust is key. And the trust is actually the trusting in your ability to take the steps forward to do what you came here to do. So it's important to stand in your power, to trust your intuition, and take aligned action. So this is really when your energy starts to shift and you start to stand on your own 2 feet, and you're able to really embody that power and trust your intuition, because there's no better confidence that comes from that. So if you're connected with the power of who you are and what you came here to do, nothing can stop you, because there's no force stronger than that. There's nothing that will get in your way, because if you're in line with life, life comes out to meet you. It opens the doors for you. It unlocks all the blockages, and it takes away all of the obstacles so that you can just walk straight in. And I have a poem called The Fast Track Path, and I often comes to mind when I have those experiences, when I've been sitting and reflecting and wondering about different direction I might take, or a decision that want to make, and I get these little inklings, those little whispers in my ear, and then I take those action steps forward from that place of clarity, and I'm trusting that I know that this is guidance I've been given. That it's just amazing how those obstacles are just any obstacle that might potentially be in its way tends to be magically moved aside. And my brother used to joke about this years ago when I was younger. He said, Caroline, anything that she wants to do, it just happens. And it's not that it just happens, it's actually just a process of trusting and being connected with your own truth. that you're married to life, I would say. Yeah. It's like you're engaged in life and you're married to the dream that is you. So it's a beautiful marriage. It's a very happy marriage. You work together, you're a team, you and life. And it always is abundant because, it when two people come together like like that, the life force energy and yourself become one, then something beautiful is always born. So I'd love you to think about that. Everyone needs, all your needs and everything that you need is already inside of you. It's always just about bringing your energy home to yourself and to step into your own clarity. So I'd love you to have a little think about those 5 steps. I'll give them to you quickly again, just to summarize it for you. So your 5 steps to find your inner clarity and your self-belief is are number 1, call your energy back to yourself. So instead of outsourcing all of your wisdom, it's just bring your energy back into yourself. Start breathing, start listening to yourself. And number 2 is listening to your own inner knowing. So you have the answers within yourself. You know exactly why you're here and what you have to do. And the third one is realize that your trust, so you're releasing your fear and you're trusting your path. So again, your clarity comes when you release fear, because if when you're in fear, fear is in control and you're not in control. Number 4 is align with your what feels right to you. So looking at what's draining you and what's actually energizing you. So the people, the places, your work, your habits, anything that's draining you, that's putting you out of alignment with your clarity. So your clarity comes from being aligned with what feels right, what feels true to you. And then number 5 is own your own power and move forward with confidence. So definitely, again, everything you need and is it already inside of you. Just bring your power home, bring yourself back to yourself, and that clarity will be found within yourself. So if you're in a transition period, if you're not sure what to do with your life, these are the 5 steps that hopefully will help you. And they're 5 steps that I have used and I use again and again. So I'd like to say as well, it's not something that you just do once. It's a constant practice because as we evolve, especially during these times, this is an extremely, I would say, transitional period in humanity where people are growing faster and being asked to grow faster and faster. We're changing and transformation is happening on a rapid rate because there's so many advancements in so many different areas, and to be constantly listening to that and to be keeping clear is a practice that it's a daily practice. And sometimes again, you might be fine for about 6 months, a year, but then you sit down again and you go through these 5 steps to really make sure that you're keeping clear and keeping on your path. And if you're getting confused, then just quieten yourself down and listen to your own inner knowing. So I hope that helped. And I really enjoy sharing my vlog, I was calling it today, my video blog on, my teachings, my wisdom that I've gained throughout my life, and also just paralleling it with my own life experience and things that are happening in my life and the practices I use to move myself through. So I hope that helped, and I will love you and leave you until next week. I hope you have an amazing week, and I hope that you find clarity and that some of these steps might help you just, yeah, get that little direction. And remember to listen to the quiet little whispers of your intuition that will guide you forward. Okay, guys, I'll talk to you next week. God bless. Bye.